Is Ubisoft in trouble? Well, it looks like they might be because they are canceling 3 games that are unannounced, and one of their biggest, most anticipated games has been delayed again. Hey, everybody, I'm Little Bobby here with 59 Gaming Direct. Today, we're talking about this news that Ubisoft has canceled 3 unannounced games and delayed Skull and Bones for the 6th time. But before we get into that, make sure if you are new to the channel here, you hit that subscribe button and ring that notification bell if you'd like to stay up to date with us on all the news, reviews, and other content we put out here on 59 Direct. And if you enjoy this video, please hit that like button. If you do not enjoy this video, hit that dislike button and leave us a comment letting us know what we could do better next time. So getting right into this story now, it looks like Ubisoft has canceled 3 unannounced games. This is according to an article in IGN by Rebecca Valentine. The beginning of the article says Ubisoft has announced that it has, for the 6th time, delayed Skull and Bones, as well as canceled 3 more unannounced games amid major changes in the industry, the underperformance of Mario plus Rabbids Sparks of Hope, and Just Dance 2023, and an upcoming restructuring. The article continues, in a press release today, Ubisoft outlined a new strategy for the remainder of its fiscal year as well as lowered expectations for the last fiscal quarter. Ubisoft explains the move as a result of the company, quote, facing major challenges as the industry continues to shift towards mega brands and long-lasting titles that can reach players across the globe, across platforms and business models, end quote. So from the sound of everything here, it sounds like Ubisoft is kind of trying to say that like big live service games made by mega corporations, mega brands as they put it, are edging them out of the marketplace by utilizing those big ongoing games. So I think of Fortnite, PUBG, Apex Legends. I think they're saying that those live service style games that are keeping everybody hooked are making it so they're not really able to compete with their traditional style of Ubisoft open world exploration based games. However, I would actually argue that Ubisoft has done really well with their own live service games, right? One of the biggest live service games that I played that I really enjoyed, and I know a lot of people that I played with enjoyed, was The Division and The Division 2. The Division 2, I believe, is about 4 years old at this point, and as far as I know, they are still going strong with content updates. Maybe not big, huge ones like the Warlords of New York that came out a few years ago, but they're still doing seasonal updates for that game and keeping the content flowing for the people that do play it. And if that's the case, it seems like their live service ventures have done pretty well for themselves, right? But let's look at the other possibilities of things that could be affecting Ubisoft right now. One of the most obvious things could be franchise fatigue, right? Ubisoft has been writing the same franchises for quite a number of years, notably Assassin's Creed, Far Cry, and the Tom Clancy franchises, with not enough being done to really innovate those franchises outside of just making the games longer and bigger, which is fine, I guess, but there gets a point where people don't really just want the same thing but bigger anymore. It's just something that gets tiring. This is one of those things that a lot of people have said is happening to the Destiny franchise right now. A lot of it's gotten really samey for a number of people, and people are kind of falling off of that franchise because they're not feeling like Bungie's innovating. Ubisoft has had this problem for a long time, especially if you look at like the Far Cry games. Those games, since they got Far Cry 3 down, those games have effectively been the same every time with very little actual innovation. Sure, there's some new things here and there for each game, but they're always the same kind of like open world, find the camps, find the towers, find out all the stuff in the world. It's all pinned on your map, and that's the game, and you just go through it. It's kind of a paint by numbers, right? Checking off the parts of your map. This has become so synonymous with Ubisoft as a brand that it's actually a thing that people will say like, oh yeah, it's just kind of like a Ubisoft game, right? Where when that's being said about a game, it means like, oh yeah, it's a big open world, there's tons of stuff to do, but it's all just marked on your map as a big checklist for things to get done. You know, this is one of the complaints that some people had about Horizon Forbidden West last year. And while I don't necessarily hate those games, I'm fine with just working down a checklist as long as the gameplay is engaging and fun. Some of the things with the Ubisoft games just aren't engaging and fun anymore, or they just go on way too long, right? Assassin's Creed Valhalla is often remarked as being way too long of a game and way too bloated with stuff, even in the main story. Like if you're looking at howlongtobeat.com and you look up Assassin's Creed Valhalla, the main story is said to be around 60 hours, and that's really long for just a main story of a game. And if you're doing a completionist run, it says it can be 140 hours. That's a lot for a lot of people. And if we're taking a look back at something like Assassin's Creed Black Flag, which is often heralded as like the peak of the series, we see that the main story of that game takes 23 hours on howlongtobeat.com with a completionist of 60.5 hours. So if we're looking at that, the completionist of Black Flag takes as long to beat as the base story of Assassin's Creed Valhalla. And for me personally, as I get older, I don't necessarily want to put 150 hours into a game just to like beat it and get like some of the side content done. That's one of the reasons, like with Elden Ring, that was not my pick for game of the year because it simply took too long. I eventually did beat it. I beat it like about a month ago, but it took me something like 140 hours. And say what you want about, oh, that game is one of the greatest things of all time, blah, blah, blah. But that is too long for most people. And it's really a shame because a lot of Elden Ring does really great things, but it just went on too long for me. By the time I was finishing it up, I was like, am I done with this yet? Is this game almost over? And I feel like a lot of Ubisoft titles now are getting that exact same feeling from a lot of people. Like, oh my goodness, is this game almost over? Because they're not feeling like, hey, I have this new fresh content to play every time. It's just like, oh, I'm just getting through this bloated, just overstuffed thing as it keeps going on and on and on. One of the really concerning things about Ubisoft right now is, as we said, the 6th delay of Skull and Bones. This is a game that I was interested in. It looks really cool. It looks like it's like the parts of Assassin's Creed Black Flag that I really love, like the pirating, the taking the boats out to sea and invading the other ships. But it's just like, that's the whole game. And to me, that's really cool. It seemed like a fun idea, kind of like a serious adult version of Sea of Thieves. But we're seeing it now being delayed again. And this is cause for concern because it means that Ubisoft is not confident in this game. They've delayed it over and over. We heard it was going to come out middle of 2022. I think it was supposed to come out in 2021. Then it was going to come out fall 2022, then winter, and then it was pushed back to 2023. Now it's being pushed back at least until fiscal year 2023, which I believe begins in April, meaning that this game is going to be pushed back at least another 2 months. And it's showing us that Ubisoft does not feel confident putting this out, either because they're trying to leverage it to have a good year on the books and not trying to release it on a year that's been so monumentally bad for them in terms of their revenue, and they're figuring maybe they can get out Skull and Bones in a new year and kick that new fiscal year off right by having that game come out and hopefully do really well for them. But this is bringing up a big problem for Ubisoft because at this point, I don't know a lot of people who are still excited for Skull and Bones. People are more worried like, oh, hey, yeah, I was really hyped for it, but now I'm just kind of wondering, like, is it ever going to come out at all? Or like they obviously can't be too happy with how it's going because it keeps getting pushed back over and over and over. But with all these cancellations and this delay of Skull and Bones again, it's clear that Ubisoft is not really confident in what they have going on. They also said something about this restructuring, which is never good terms just in any kind of corporate speak. It generally means people are going to lose their jobs, things are going to get canceled and shuffled around. And personally, there are a couple games that I'm looking forward to, right? I said I was looking forward to Skull and Bones, and I'm still hoping it can come out and find some success because I feel like that could be a really fun game. But I'm also looking forward to The Division Heartland, and I think that could be a really great game because supposedly it's just basically going to be a standalone version of the survival multiplayer mode that they released with the first Division game, which I think was the best thing in the Tom Clancy's The Division franchise. And I wish they had put it in The Division 2, but it looks like they knew that it was kind of their bread and butter as far as that series went, and now they're looking to make it into its own game. And so I'm hoping that one's not getting canceled because I've been really looking forward to that and hoping that it comes out and is a really smash hit for The Division and keeps that franchise moving forward, because I really do think that that is one of their strongest franchises that they have going for them right now. And with the upcoming Assassin's Creed Mirage and them being very transparent saying, hey, we recognize that a lot of people feel like since we rebooted the Assassin's Creed franchise with Origins and then Odyssey and now Valhalla, that people feel like the Assassin's Creed franchise has strayed too far away from what made people love it. Personally, I loved like the kind of historical fiction of Assassin's Creed. I love the assassinating, right? Let's say just being an assassin, having to be stealthy and sly with how you accomplish your missions, depending on which mission you're doing. I feel like the games in the recent kind of restructuring of that series have not captured that magic like the old ones used to. And I feel like if they can bring that back with Mirage, maybe create one line where they're doing that kind of old school Assassin's Creed, keep them shorter, keep them more streamlined, and make it more about being an assassin. And then for the people who really enjoy like Valhalla and Origins and Odyssey, make those big RPG ones. You could have kind of two branches of Assassin's Creed going at the same time and please everybody who's liked the franchise either earlier or later on. But either way you look at it, Ubisoft is not having a great time right now, and I'm hoping they can pull out, because when Ubisoft is at the top of their game, they really have made some great stuff in the past. It just feels like with a lot of their franchises, they have lost their way, and they need to really sit down and think, okay, what can we do? What made these franchises so special? And how can we really innovate and make them into the things that people loved about them, but bring them into this kind of new updated gaming landscape? And please, Ubisoft, if you watch this video by any chance, please do not run NFTs and crypto and all that stuff again. Gamers have soundly rejected that stuff. It has been basically bullied out of the gaming landscape, and for good reason. So Ubisoft, learn from that quartz and the fact that everybody rejected that the second you tried to push it on people. Don't make that same mistake. Give gamers games and they will pay you back with loyalty to your brand. You see that with Sony, you see that with Nintendo, and you see that with other third-party publishers, right? People who love like EA Sports games, people who love Blizzard games. Gamers will reward you with loyalty if you earn it. And Ubisoft, I'm really hoping you can kind of pull out of this tailspin that you're in, because you've made some of my favorite games that I've ever played, and I would love to see you keep making more great games in the future, as opposed to kind of misguided attempts at just capitalizing on what made your company great early on. Anyway, what do you think about Ubisoft being in trouble? Do you agree that they need to restructure and really think about the franchises that they have? Do they need new franchises? Do they need to liven it up with some new IP? Or do you think this is really the beginning of the end and we're going to see Ubisoft either get acquired by someone or just shut down completely? Let us know down in the comments below. Again, I'm Little Bobby here with 5-9 Gaming Direct. If you made it to the end, make sure you hit that subscribe button and ring that notification bell so you can stay up to date with everything that we do here on 5-9 Gaming Direct. And hit that like button if you enjoyed this video. Hit the dislike if you did not, and leave us a comment letting us know what we can do better for the future. Thank you again so much for watching today, and I hope to see you soon.